Finally.
That's too loud. That's definitely.
I wanted to see the headline.
Welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. Well, we are thrilled by a significant achievement that places the nation of Amazonia on the global stage, showcasing excellence and success. The Secretary of State for Communications and IT for the government of Amazonia, Secretary Martin Mungwa, has brought international recognition to Amazonia once again. Before we delve into that, let's take a look at some details of tonight's newscast. Well, in the face of immense challenges and against a backdrop of economic and political adversity, the spirit of the Amazonian people remains unbroken. Through these tumultuous times is a testament to the unwavering resilience and steadfast hope that define us. Despite ongoing political efforts to undermine the sovereignty of Amazonia, the ASA Amazonian State Army has showcased remarkable growth, evolving their capabilities significantly. Such advancements underlines the commitment of Amazonia to safeguarding the homeland and rights, even in the face of daunting obstacles. While a recent act of bravery in Nkambe demonstrated the resolve to respect and enforce the ghost town orders, a crucial part of the peaceful protest strategy. The incident serves as a reminder of the importance of unity and respect for the collective decision of the Amazonian government, ensuring that the voice of Amazonians remains strong and unified. For over 7 years, the Federal Republic of Amazonia has observed weekly Monday Ghost Town protests. These actions are a powerful expression of the determination to resist colonial governance and proclaim the right to self determination, despite attempts by La Republic to quell the voices with aggression. Amazonians stand firmer in the resolve. The community bonded by a shared vision for a peaceful and self governing Amazonia. The economic hardship imposed upon Amazonia have not deterred the spirit of Amazonians. Rather, they have invigorated the resolve to make homeland ungovernable for those who seek to impose their will upon Amazonia unjustly. The commitment to enforce goes down as a form of protest remains unwavering, a symbol of the peaceful resistance and desire to be free. Now, while we face militaristic tactics from La Republic, Amazonia's aspiration remains centered on peace and the well being of the people. The contrast between their approach and vision for peace underscores the challenges that Amazonia has to face, but it also highlights the strength in choosing to fight for rights, the rights of Amazonians through peace means. Now, before we get into the full details of tonight's Undaunted, let us make and take a moment to reflect on the journey thus far. It is a journey marked by hardship, but also by incredible courage, community, and hope. As we look to the future, let us continue to stand together, resolve unbroken as Amazonians seek a peaceful, prosperous, and independent Amazonia. This news this evening will not only be entertaining and informative, but not it will as well be very impactful. But not until the prime headlines.
Right here are the headlines for tonight. ASA takes firm action against ghost town defaulters yesterday in Nkambe, burns 15 bikes linked to CPDM loyalists. Also tonight, alarm in southern Cameroons under the occupation of French Cameroons, hospitals linked to more deaths than before. Also tonight, House Slaves Colonial Minister Atangandri Paul's dual struggle facing Amazonian resistance and Boko Haram blames unregistered numbers. Catholic Church clergy's controversial role in coercing voter registration sparks outrage ahead of the colonial government's presidential election of 2015 and 2025. Deadly saga in Tombell. Unregulated petroleum activity sparked deadly flames amid economic turmoil under rogue colonial government of Yaoundé. Also tonight on Undaunted, Southern Cameroonian-born lawyer Kere Muna laments the irreversible decline of the Cameroons under dictator Biya, criticized for endorsing controversial One Cameroon ideology despite historical and legal contradiction. Tonight on Undaunted, especially, Tibonage sheds light on the plight of the Southern Cameroons, advocates for Canadian-style treatment to end conflict. But is this really what the people who have suffered so far for 6 decades, is this what they want? While you're trying to answer that question, on the African scene, protests in Niamey against the presence of foreign forces is also on the news. And of course, on the foreign scene, Israel and allied defenses intercepted more than 300 Iranian missiles and drones. So much for tonight. And of course, an interesting report also coming from the successful Dr. Martin Mungwa is also here. And we also have Barrister Team based here in the house. So let's get into the full briefings of Under tonight. The The Amazonian State Army enforces ghost town compliance by sanctioning the voters in Nkambe. In a decisive move to reinforce ghost town observance, the Amazonian State Army yesterday sanctioned the voters in Nkambe, destroying 15 motorcycles owned by individuals associated with CPDM loyalist Ngala Gerald. This act has been widely praised for its bold stance in assuring the respect for the Amazonian Struggle Directive. The people of the Federal Republic of Amazonia have proven their resilience in respect of the Monday Ghost Town for over 7 years now and counting. Mother Ghost Town has had a lot of attacks from La Republic to Cameroon and her colonial authorities of all sorts to no avail. This count fights in diverse forms because of the negative economic impact of the colonial government. Despite the pressure of different types of Amazonians from the colonial administration, the spirit of making Amazonia ungovernable for La Republic to Cameroon through Ghost Town is still as strong as the first time ever since its inception in 2017. Good evening, Undaunted. This is where we'll begin the full briefings tonight. How are you doing, sir?
Splendid on you. Good evening, Amazonians. Well, on Monday, yesterday, April 15th, in a highly respected Ghost Town Day in Bamenda, the chief town of the northern zone of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, Amazonians were poised to flush out the colonial government of La Republic de Cameroon through the usual Monday ghost towns. The streets of Bamenda are void of vehicles and any other mechanized movement as all commits to respect the Monday ghost town. Just earlier this month, the Amazonian State Army of Mime and Indian, under the command of General Millipede and Johnny Mad Dog, recently placed a ban on Monday's farming activities across the two counties. The ban was a sign of respect for Monday's ghost towns, which is being observed across Amazonia.
Well, around Nkambe, precisely in Jab, a village between Tebankan and Nkambe, yesterday morning, 15 bikes of those going to farms without respect for the Monday ghost town have been destroyed, burned, and two reached arrested by the Donga Manchun County ASA. We can't quite understand the rationale behind this, violating the ghost town day. Well, to the people of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, Monday Ghost Town is a collective sacrifice to give more impetus to the individual's contributions to the fight for the restoration of the statehood of the former British Southern Cameroon Amazonia. So there is no justification for respecting and disrespecting the laws that govern Amazonia.
Well, we hope this serves as a lesson to all the CPDM bigwigs in Donga Matun County who have been employing vigilantes to obstruct the implementation of the federal government plans in the county. With the unmasking of Ngala Gerard, the arrest of youths, and the escaping of many more youths hitherto, misled following the 11th February CPDM bomb blast, things are certainly not to be the same again in the county of Donga Matung. Well, the CPDM had been misleading many to think that Nkambe is not involved in the Southern Cameroon's Amazonians' freedom quest, but then yesterday rather, they were disproved.
All right, so it's a day after Ghost Town today. The town of Bamenda is buoyant today as compared to yesterday. That was Monday. Mondays in Bamenda, just like we said in particular, and in Ambazonia in general, are ghost towns. These ghost towns for Monday was instituted in 2017 by the Ambazonian then interim government, now Ambazonian government. The town of Bamenda today, April 16th, is lively with all and sundry out and engaged in one activity or the other. Someone who happened to see the street yesterday will ask where were all these people?
Well, today, Tuesday, a day after yesterday's fully respected Monday goes down, April 15th goes down. It is booming with activities. Commercial bike riders as well as cab drivers are out with their bikes and taxis searching for passengers. Offices and different business places are open, a situation different from what it was yesterday. Yesterday, Monday, the town of Bamenda was dry and void of a means of transportation. The streets were empty as the denizens stayed home in observation of the ghost town. Well, the people of Bamenda today came out with a fresh impetus as they rested the day before. That was a ghost town. The energy is visible in the manner in which the people carry themselves into the day. Well, according to A commercial bike rider says, "My spirit today to work is very high, given that yesterday I had enough rest as it was the ghost town day. After such a good rest, I feel energized for today's hustle," he said.
Well, Undaunted happened to visit one of the popular travel agencies in the town of Bamenda. A passenger coming in from La Republic to Cameroon colonial town of Yaoundé said Ghost Town is not only a matter of Ambazonia that on Sunday evenings in Yaoundé, agencies transporting people into Ambazonia are locked. These agencies do not render services to clients on Sundays because they wouldn't be able to get into Ambazonia the next day, which is Monday. Well, since 2017, Ambazonians have recognized themselves and reorganize themselves as well and know that they have 4 working days with Monday sacrifice to make life difficult and to make their stand strong in the land.
Oh, well, taking a look at the DDR centers, we got news that the colonial pioneer coordinator for the Bamenda based CPDM concentration camp christened the Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration, the DDR Center, GAPSA Sixtus, is no more. The educationist and politician reportedly died on Sunday night from an illness, according to family sources. Gapsa served as principal of Government Bilingual High School Ndop since 2016, before his appointment at the DDR in 2018.
Well, the DDR centers are a creation of the failed Yaoundé CPDM junta aimed at recruiting youth to counter the ongoing Southern Cameroon's Ambazonians independence struggle. Since 2018, the CPDM government tactics to lure these youths to frustrate genuine independent fighters, first the Ambazonian State Army, have been abortive. Youths lured into these centers only discovered that colonial Yaoundé has been playing games, making fallacious promises, which ends up frustrating them even more, yet they can't escape since the Yaoundé junta deprives them of identification papers, making them perpetual inmates of the so-called DDR centers.
Well, worse still is not only are these ex-liberation fighters trapped in these centers without any plan of reintegration into society, they are also used most times to hunt down their brothers whom they fought alongside before their surrender, knowing fully well that they were a part of them and know quite enough to set these liberation fighters up for their fall. The talk of the colonial DDR centers have never been a good one, not to the global law that should guide such centers or the tenants there, while those who are manipulated into giving up the fight to free homeland and instead stay imprisoned in these so-called DDR centers languish there. The Amazonian State Army and Goketunje battalions are successfully penetrating gangs of brainwashed and enslaved Southern Cameroon traitors collaborating with colonial and genocidal La Republic occupational forces to kill their own brothers in their own ancestral home.
We can see that while La Republic de Cameroon is plotting to use weak Amazonians to facilitate their genocidal scheme against La Republic de Cameroon, the ASA and Tujer battalions are proactively spotting out these sellouts and reading such connections with La Republic de Cameroon against fellow Amazonians. Now, let's see that video.
And I arrange all everything on and then BBM all everything. And I make a key care, so don't catch the today, all everything we go and they will talk me on a year. Work with blind and don't start working on Saturday. Una keep quiet. Take me for being accountable for you and when I somebody and go left go I go back football today. I make 1 month today, they move today. I come back again. Can't stay for village, stay for village. They catch me again, go number 2 times go today. They beat me a bit as they beat me a bit and talk to this. So they don't say my work for them, original work for them. Why? I tell them say this so if I work for them, my life will be at stake. They kill me any time. They beat me. I want to say they left me on Monday. I'm not come. I want to come now, they call me. I tell them say well, when they call me so make us Sunday I will die. Actually they call me and they tell me say this so. They tell me say on Friday way, when you call me, I'll go see Umwala. I believe I go see a young boy. Where they call me, I don't know if I've that 2 people they call me, so when they call me for Tinka.
So when they call me for this thing, for Ngwala, I want to go for Ngwala that day. I know I was seeing some pa, I was seeing some better man where you give me something. I want to see that pa. It told me say so. More to work together, they'll give me money. I say money not come out square, correct for me. Because if I work some country, you go to reward me. There was some day they'll kill me. He say, "Ma forget money day, they'll give me money." I say, "Pa, you tell things every day. They I don't want for them to give me money." He say, "My own life to be a stake here." He talk. I go me that day. He make he stay. Now the part never call me. You know, he put the way never call him. He put the boy will give me that number. Me call me na 130. They call 130. Na Bamali boy. Let me say my number for you. The part call me. And the surprise he told say no get phone. The change your partner pass am. Because now they call me so direct. I come out take machine so drop worker go stand for day. Even they way even they way they be left where they be transfer for Bafudu and somebody there. That big man, that small young man, we don't understand Market Square. All man know where to catch Market Square. If any man don't see, they focus on me say my camp first. He call me that day will go. He stand for Mwala. So he stand. I want to see. I'm not saying I've been not saying until you corner some better man. The bar, he move envelope, a pocket white envelope. Money day. He can't you can sleep where they put it where you can sleep in the car. They can kill it. 5 been at 4:30 when the car come up for outside. Where I get come out of peace. One I think enter. Be the surrender house, catch the car. And the catch the car, they ask the car now one thing to bring that black one. You know, ask na two things. If they bring that black one, you can say who's black one, you go bring the pump action. That be man should be faithful. Ask that black one, that be man, you can say you go bring another gun. You see that gun be the gun that. Ask the girl, you say that gun they where they can get them. That very gun. He say they for him the axi, you bring the gun. Now for the way I know, say I know the power. Where they give me the other no the power. If you ask me the power now, don't know me, tell me name, but know me in our face. A story that way me I know the power. That the power in that get person lean that way with classes when they shoot the car. Yeah, they know about the guy. Then didn't carry that. Then you be talking one black lady for Tonka, one day from Wanda. You never explain them, you never know them. Yeah, now the highest thing then that way I want them. I don't want me that they explain and they go. We don't already hear anyone you don't talk. If we, you know, so you there for you there between life and death. If you talk your truth will carry you safe. If you talk, let's say you want hide, say you don't know the people. You know people they not fit the transact where you don't know them. I don't know their name. Where you don't know their name. Oh, you don't know. This thing where they talk, you they make and so. Now you sabi. Now you sabi. Where you want there you want. You want and there hide them there. Now you sabi. But my problem now I say, I want them say, me the place where they talk say this so or that you talk, me you explain and say so kind person, so you name that so because you not person not see the one where you don't know a name. You call a name more no.
Well, from what you hear in that video, you see yet another La Republic's intimidation strategy at play. Some time back, they punished a village who would not collaborate with them on their genocidal plan against the southern Cameroons. In other cases, abductions by La Republic are made until the people give them the information they want on the Amazonian State Army, whether they really have it or not. Well, it is worse to know and see that there are Southern Cameroons who would sell their brothers for any price at all. Even far worse to know the meager amounts they would sell their brothers for.
So this is not the first time La Republic de Cameroon is employing this strategy. The more reason why, instead of the southern Cameroons to give in to the brute force of La Republic de Cameroon, they should instead turn to their brothers, the ASA, with the sole aim of protecting them. Because with such intimidation strategy, it is clear they have no intentions of your safety, but just their intels to kill your own brothers defending the homeland, which is why doing the reverse is a better thing for the sake of the homeland.
Well, taking a look at the pathetic health situation in the southern Cameroons due to Lara Public's negligence. Well, there's a tragic toll. Southern Cameroon's hospitals under scrutiny for rising mortality rates. A heart-wrenching report from the Bamenda Regional Hospital in southern Cameroon unveils a grim scenario. Hospitals, rather than sanctuaries of healing, are becoming harbors of loss amidst cries for reform in the colonial government's healthcare system. A mother mourns the unthinkable, the loss of her twins. Out of her three children, she loses three to these hospitals, spotlighting a conflict demanding immediate attention from international partners.
Well, health is a serious part of life, and that can explain that in other climes. Health is given the highest priority. This is because we believe health is health and health is wealth. Health is also life. Negligence on the part of the staff of the public hospital is a call for concern. This is so because their monthly pay is not proportionate to their output. Even if they work or not, they will still, get paid, which is why they are so relaxed at their pace and places of work. A lady in Bamenda is in sorrow after losing two of her triplets. The staff of the Bamenda Regional Hospital are being accused of not playing their art as they ought to. They neglected vital medical procedures.
Well, the name of this lady, Tamanji Manuela Angui, is pointing accusing fingers at the staff of the Mamenda Regional Hospital for being responsible for the death of two of her triplets. She's talking from a medical perspective as she is a midwife. She stated that she's a midwife by profession and she has been practicing for more than 5 years. And she said she was pregnant with triplets and had been regularly going to the hospital for checkups. Emmanuel is accusing the Bamenda Regional Hospital of negligence and incompetence that led to the deaths of her twin sons.
Well, according to her, the negligence and incompetence of the doctors and nurses of the regional hospital have succeeded in killing their babies. The hospital booklet of Emanuela attested the fact that she had been followed regularly by the hospital throughout her pregnancy with triplets. Well, according to this lady, her ordeal began on the 24th of March when her water broke at about 2:15 a.m. after informing her gynecologist a sonogram was not performed and her plea about the lack of fetal movement were allegedly dismissed by medical staff. Well, what a shame on the part of these professionals. The membrane ruptured at 2:15 a.m. and at 6:45 a.m. she was still in the hospital. Now, from the very information, an ultrasound conducted 2 days later revealed a complete absence of amniotic fluid in one of the sacs. Anwe's request for a C-section was reportedly rejected by her gynecology, who cited similar cases where babies remained in the womb up to 35 weeks.
Well, as stated by Angry on Monday, she requested CS due to decreased fetal movement, one of the danger signs in pregnancy. And on Tuesday, she emphasized her babies were no longer moving and demanded they should be removed. Although fetal heart rate was good, as indicated by ultrasound, stated this woman in question. On March 27th, Angry developed a fever, prompting an emergency C-session due to um, some issues, an infection of the placenta and amniotic fluid. This condition, Angry alleges, stemmed from the prolonged leaking sac. The twin boys delivered with sepsis and severe asphyxia did not survive. Both boys came out with sepsis, severe asphyxia, since they were in the same sac that got burst. Well, unfortunately, they did not make it, and they were denied a chance at life, she said. Angry surviving baby girl is in the neonatal intensive care unit being monitored for prematurity. The grieving mother has yet to see her gynecologist since the delivery.
Well, while the cause of death will need to be confirmed, Barlow medical examiner Angui story sheds light on a serious issue of alleged negligence within the healthcare system. Angui is seeking justice and hope that her story reaches the Ministry of Public Health to raise awareness about the lack of self-care and the lack of medical care she experienced. Well, her daughter is on the line to get a response from the hospital. Last week, Tuesday, We told you that Colonial Minister Tangan Paul, the architect behind the creation of the DDR, a strategic hub by the colonial administration aimed at undermining the Ambazonian State Army by gathering intelligence and bolstering armed forces, voices his vexation amid his orchestrated efforts. Paul criticizes the use of unregistered telephone numbers by both what he calls the separatist fighters of Ambazonian State Army and Boko Haram militants, highlighting a growing concern and its administrative challenges. The unanswered questions remains. What exactly is he saying?
Well, meanwhile, according to reports, the Colonial Minister of Territorial Reports, Paul Atanga Ng, the son of a coup, an Amazonian born who has suddenly become a house slave, has said separatist fighters are using unregistered telephone numbers. Now, how did the separatists get the numbers in the first place, and who are the separatists? Are all of these not election tactics? We wonder who he's tagging these names. Well, according to reports in time past 3 to 4 years ago, there was a confirmation of Atanga NG, a CPDM loyalist, who was also having his own fighters on the ground. It means Atanga NG created his own, quote, Amber Boys, not just that he has actively taken monies for humanitarian things and aids.
Just recently, we heard Atanganji saying in his words, today the terrorists have committed too many crimes and too much evil in the northwest and northwest regions. Well, today, every time a group of terrorists is neutralized or identified, they are found to have at least 27 phones, which makes it very difficult for the security forces to investigate. For after each forfeit, the terrorists remove the SIM card and replace them with others. Well, in his words, he says he wants to be clear. He says, MTN operators and Orange, you are not going to win over the expense of the state security because we have to be partners in responsible senses. Well, this is someone who also had his own fighters, by the way. According to him, he says subscriber identification is a requirement in La Republic de Cameroon. He says, I have called you to face up to your responsibility and you must imperatively give Minette within 60 days the list of all those who are responsible for selling the product in what he calls the Northwest and Southwest and Far North regions. Says you must also commit to controlling the circulations of SIMs and SIM cards that you send to these three regions because the investigations carried out by the defense and security forces clearly shows that the SIM found in the homes of the terrorists are SIM cards without identification or with fake names. The question is, how did that even get in the country in the first place? How do unregistered SIM get to the terrorists? So you see that there are moves that should be tacked from the foundation, which is already very faulty.
Well, in another report, first things is it's unfortunate for those who, for one reason or the other, their phones are in the contact rather are in the phones of a certain Pa Alaji. After the colonial forces killed a certain Pa Alaji of Bafut, they collected his two phones. The colonial forces have launched a hunt for all those whose contacts are inside the phones of Paalaji. Right now, as we speak, at least 150 people have been kidnapped and kept in different dungeons because their contacts were in these Paalaji's phone. Now, this is an act far below the belt of professionalism. The colonial thugs do not care to know why the contacts are in these phones. Not all the contacts are partners as they suspect in the fight that Paalaji was involved in. They, of course, use every opportunity to test the people and make them vulnerable.
Well, more than 150 innocent civilians from Bafut and its environs are in the colonial dungeons just because their contacts were found on the phones they collected from one certain Pa Alaji. Now, Pa Alaji is a fighter in the Amazonian State Army in Bafut who has given the La Republic de Cameroon colonial forces tough times and the ongoing war of independence. Well, after the killing of the threaded Pa Alaji last March, the colonial forces collected his phones. What they do is that they will use an anonymous number to call the contacts on the phone. When the person shows up, he or she is immediately whisked off to an unknown dungeon. Now, this goes a long way to prove and to show that La Republic de Cameroon looks for every opportunity to manipulate and intimidate the people of Southern Cameroons. Well, residents have not been willing to return home again since the colonial operation started. They prefer to hang around in towns of Bamenda than go down to Bafut as they do not know if the contacts are also, if they are part of the contact. Some who, for one reason or the other, suffered in the hands of Palaji are today undergoing torture in the hands of the colonial forces just because their contacts were in his phones. Sad, you would agree.
Well, it is interesting to see how those who have betrayed the Southern Cameroon's movement in every aspect are now speaking for the same system that has failed for 6 decades. According to reporter Kerry Muna said that he has confirmed the La Republique is broken, but he still loves one Cameroon. And this is one of the reasons Southern Cameroons have been crying. Because Kerry Muna is aware that the entire La Republique is a fraud. He is aware, dating back to history, that his father, who was a prime minister, and he was used to destroy the Southern Cameroon struggle at the time. His father was even a lawyer before he passed on, and an important speech we can remember he said was, "We once came into this union not as slaves but as parties of equal status," and encouraged the youth to take a stand Akerimuna has never taken. Akerimuna's speech is very political. He is only trying to give credence as a legal mind.
Well, even though Akere Muna paints a bleak picture of their failed country, it's funny Muna is not ready to part ways with their messy nation and join the Amazonian fight for liberation from over 63 years in bondage. Cameroons are sick and tired of seeing their country in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, and they are all blaming the country's long serving and sit tight president, who has run the country's economy aground and made corruption the hallmark of his 42 years long presidency. Today, Cameroons want to leave their country for greener pastures, including the old and sick who are not receiving any form of assistance from the state. The country's pension plan is anything but effective, and many retirees are dropping dead like flies just a few years after heading into retirement. For the sick, they know they are on their way to lonely and miserable graves as the country hospitals have been transformed into businesses where the sick must find the luxurious lifestyle of the few medical doctors who have opted to live in the Cameroons. There are more Cameroonian medical doctors out of the country than in the Cameroons, and many are not thinking of returning anytime soon, except Paul Beer or something happens, which might definitely take the longest times of their life, as they are saying that he's ready to continue to take power even in 2025.
Oh, well, Mr. Bia's incompetence has been described as legendary, and his management style has left the country in the throes of a long and painful economic disaster which has been around for 42 years. Bia is not in the mood to walk away from the Unity Palace, the presidential palace, which he thinks belongs to him and his family, although it was built by his predecessor. Mr. Bia's health has been failing for more than 15 years now, but he is not throwing in the towel, and his Swiss doctors are doing their best to keep him alive, given that he is their ATM. The Swiss medical experts spend most of their time praying for the corrupt and irresponsible to be sick but stay alive so that they too can continue billing the Cameroon's taxpayers. Well, the Cameroons are going through tough times. The economic disaster engineered by Paul Biya and his collaborators is biting, and this can be seen on many faces as many Cameroons are aging prematurely. Mr. Biya seems to have put Cameroons on a diet, and many are losing weight at a disturbing pace, while the Swiss doctors are praying for Mr. Biya to be alive so their pockets continue to get full.
Strangely, both parties are praying to the same God, and from every indication, God is listening more to the Swiss doctors, and this has triggered a wave of prayers in the Cameroons, with many Cameroons praying aloud and crying if God is deaf. Well, many Cameroonians hold that Biya has overstayed his welcome and should retire to his village or should retire to at least rest. But his supporters are always calling for him to run again in 2025 presidential election, which he will win with a comfortable margin as the country's constitution and electoral laws have been tailored to suit his intentions. And this is just the reason why Southern Cameroon's Ambazonians must get their independence with full force. Well, we'll get back into the news after this break.
marked the pages of history. December 2nd, 2019 became a landmark date. The nation of Ambazonia garnered recognition from Camara Municipal Barreri, setting the stage for an unprecedented partnership in a bold stride towards fostering deeper ties with the people and nation of Brazil. President Sacco steps into the limelight with the Brazilian press. At this critical time of war, history is poised to unfold once more. In the government's strategic plan, President Sacco will take the forefront of the diplomatic outreach program through media and press initiatives, sharing insights, visions, and the dawn of a new chapter in interviews that promise to captivate. This momentous affair will be streamed continuously on ABC Amba TV for our esteemed viewers. Be part of this movement. This is a crucial aspect of our media warfare. Join us in this crusade.
Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. From the azure embrace of the Atlantic reflecting from the Ambas Bay, the iconic Fako Mountain ascends with a silent, stoic grace, carving a silhouette against the sky. This towering sentinel is more than a geographical marvel. It is the heart of southern Cameroons, the stoic guardian of Ambazonia, a symbol steadfast as the unyielding spirit manifests in the unity of the land's 13th counties. And signing these aspire of peace is up, touched and serene. As flowers with wings unfurled, it casts shadows upon the land, each feather a brushstroke of tranquility. Against the canvas of the heavens, 13 stars glimmer, a celestial acknowledgement of each county's shared dreams and harmonious virtues. The dove, in its eternal flight, is not merely a bird, but an embodiment of the collective longing for a peaceful existence under a shared identity. Beneath the mountain top, firmly grounded in the richness of the earth, twin elephant tusks rise as natural monuments. Their arcs, regal and commanding, capture the noble essence of the land spirit animals. This emblem, this seal of Amazonia, is no mere insignia. It is the beacon that illuminates the path to shared prosperity. It is an oasis of unity in a world parched by discord, a visual whisper of a nation's pride.
Well, you're welcome back. Now let's look at Akaremuna's reports tonight. Well, Southern Cameroon's born lawyer Karamuna laments the irreversible decline of the Cameroons under Paul Biya. Akaramuna, a prominent figure born in southern Cameroon, incites controversy for continuing to support the vision of a united Cameroon under the Franco-Cameroon dominance, despite acknowledging its detrimental effects. His stance has ignited accusations of betrayal from his own community, questioning the feasibility of this unity in the face of legal and historical facts. While it is interesting to see how those who have betrayed the Southern Cameroons movement in every aspect are now speaking for the same system that has failed for 6 decades. Well, according to reporter Kremuna said that he has confirmed that La Republic to Cameroon is broken, but he still loves one Cameroons. And this is one of the reasons Southern Cameroons have been crying out loud, because Kremuna is aware that the entire La Republic to Cameroon is a fraud. He's aware, dating back to history, his father was a prime minister and he was used to destroy the Southern Cameroon struggle at the time. But his father was even a lawyer before he passed on. And an important speech, which we remember he once said, was when he said that we came into this union not as slaves, but as parties of equal status, and encouraged the youth to take their stand, a stand a Karemuner has never taken. A Karemuner speech is very political from all indications. He's trying to give credence as a legal mind, because putting the two cameras together is a fraud, which he knows. And respect for Karimuna is to outrightly stand firm in the face of injustice, which is also very, very bad.
Well, even though Akarimuna paints a bleak picture of the failed country, it is funny that Akarimuna is not ready to face with and join the Amazon for freedom from over 63 years of bondage. Well, Cameroons are sick and tired of seeing their country in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, and they are all blaming the country's long-serving and sit-tight President Paul Biya, who has run the country's economy aground and made corruption the hallmark of his 42-year-long presidency. Today, the Cameroons want to leave their country for greener pastures, including the old and sick who are not receiving any form of assistance from the state. The country's pension plan is anything but effective, and many retirees are dropping dead like flies just a few years after heading into retirement. For the sick, they know they are on their way to lonely and miserable graves, as the country's hospitals have been transformed into businesses where the sick must fund the luxury and luxurious lifestyles of the few medical doctors who have opted to live in the Cameroons. There are more Cameroons medical doctors out of the country than in the Cameroons, and many are not thinking of returning anytime soon. Except the president dies, and from every indication, the president is not in any hurry to leave the earth. He is determined to die in power, and the longer he stays in power, the more pain he inflicts on the people he is supposed to serve.
Well, Mr. Bia's incompetence has been described as legendary, and his management style has left the country in the throes of a long and painful economic disaster which has been around for 42 years. Bia is not in a mood to walk away from the Unity Palace, the presidential palace, which he thinks belongs to him and his family, although it was built by his predecessors. Well, Mr. Bia's health has been failing for more than 15 years now, but he's not throwing in the towel, and his Swiss doctors are doing their best to keep him alive. Well, the Swiss medical experts spend most of their time praying for the corrupt and irresponsible president to be sick, but he still stays alive. Well, Cameroonians are going through tough times. The economic disaster engineered by President Biya and his collaborators is biting, and this can be seen on many faces as many Cameroonians are aging prematurely. Mr. Biya seems to have put Cameroonians on a diet, and many are losing weight at a disturbing pace, while the Swiss doctors are doing the needful for him.
Well, strangely, both parties are praying to the same God, and from every indication, God is listening more to the Swiss doctors, and he has triggered a wave of prayers in the Cameroons. Sad. Oh, well, like we told you, we have with us in the studio barrister Tim in Basia. Did we mention?
Yes, please. And we would want to correct a phrase there when we talked about Akarimuna's father. It wasn't his
Esther
father,
Muna.
it was his brother.
Certainly, Ben Muna was the lawyer,
Yeah,
not
the
Esther
brother.
Muna. Oh, well, to analyze this particular report in details, we have with us a barrister, the one that you are very acquainted with, barrister Tim in Basia, in the studio with us. And I'm sure he has something to say about this report, because on our end, we were actually thinking, what is this show about? What is Akere Muna coming out to say all of this in the open for? Is this just some political antics, or what could his intentions be? Barrister Tim.
From there, either they fly their doctors to Yaoundé or is flown over there. It's highly, very, very, very expensive. So the Swiss, they are doing their job as medical professionals. We don't wish a client to die. But as far as we know, nothing goes for nothing. The day he doesn't have the money to pay, nobody will treat you. And so it's an economic asset to the Swiss system, not a liability. That said, let me come back to Akere Muna. See, Akere, the Munas are a popular name in Amazonia. And most people believe that
Barrister
their
team,
father,
Barrister team.
yes, ma'am,
Sorry. Comes to my knowledge that your sound, your output wasn't quite gotten. Sorry for the inconvenience, but would have you to repeat what you just said because your output wasn't really going out.
okay, are you getting me now?
Let me confirm that.
Are you getting me?
Okay, I think we'll just come back for this interview. Okay, I think we can get you now. Yes,
Do you get me now?
yes.
I was saying that let me comment on the Paul Biya's health and his treatment in Switzerland. And I said that can be summarized in one word, that the Biya as an individual, his family and the rest, they constitute a very viable economic asset to the Swiss economic system. Because the hotels, the Continental Hotel and others, they lodges delegations of more than 50 people for months, are paid for. That money goes into the Swiss economy. The doctors that come to visit him here one day, or that he goes to consult in Switzerland, are very, very expensive. They pay and the money goes to the Swiss system. The day he doesn't have the money, they will not treat him anymore. But since it's dealing with the Cameroon economy, they would rather take a World Bank loan to have him treated in Switzerland, to have him go there with his delegation of thousands of people and stay for months. And so that is it is. As doctors, they have the right and the responsibility to treat their patients. They don't wish them dead. But in the West, nothing goes for nothing. And so that is called Pobia, an economic liability to Cameroon, an economic asset to the West, and most particularly to Switzerland. That said, I was turning to Akeremona. Are you getting me?
Yes, we can hear you
Are you
very
getting me?
clearly. Very clearly.
I was saying that the Munas, the name Muna, are a political name, very powerful name in Cameroon in general and in Ambazonia in particular. You see, Akere is the son of St. Muna. I wonder what St. Muna was. We have had this debate many times before, even before this war. Many people in Ambazonia, British Southern Cameroon, believed that we are where we are because St. Muna, the father to Akere Muna, betrayed us. He carried a large portion of the responsibility for what we're going through. That is St. Muna. He did all those things. But as a human being, we have to give him credit. While he was alive, he repented. He saw what he had done to be wrong. He asked for a public apology. He was, for example, in Buea on the 2nd and 3rd of April 1993 in AAC 1. And I saw him stand there. Foncha was there. Muna and Ray, they wept for what we're going through. And they apologized publicly. And so, we're human beings. We have to forgive those who wrong us, realize their wrongs, and apologize. But St. Muna went further. From 1993, popular apology. He was in the delegation that came back to the United Nations in 1995 to say this thing was wrong. He forced us to go to the wrong place. So that is that. We have to say thank you, Pamuna, for at least realizing that what he did or he contributed in doing was wrong. Now, over to his son, Akere Muna. Akere Muna is just one of the several big Munas Dr. Muna was a medical doctor, an expert in Kuala there, but those are not important. Akere is the second lawyer from the Muna family. His senior brother, Ben, who died not long ago, he too was a lawyer before this guy. I can all remember him for what he said. When he made the orders are still there. Fight, fight, fight for your freedom. Don't expect your parents, the people who went before you, to come back and fight for you. That is what is left of Ben Muna. He's not talking today, but we shall engrave that on his grave somewhere. We'll get to Ambazonia. That at least, in addition to his father repenting, by the time he died, he encouraged us. He told us that no one will fight this battle for us, but ourselves, his own children. Okay, he was an old man when he died. And so, what is Akere about? I say Akere is for his self-aggrandizement. Akere believes in one and indivisible Cameroon. Apparently, because he will get some profits out of it. Akere is so well positioned around the world, around Africa and around the world. He has platforms that he could use to foster our case. He uses them, uses whatever he has, not to foster for Ambazonian independence. No, uses it to fight to see how far we can remain with the Republic of Cameroon. That's his trademark. I remember in 2018, Akere Mona, as a lawyer, powerful, renowned, world-renowned lawyer, wrote a petition to the ICC, urging the ICC to come prosecute those who were committing genocide in Ambazonia. In other words, he knows that genocide is being committed. He wrote a petition. I have a copy of his petition here. He would like to see somebody, anybody who is committing suicide against us, to be prosecuted and punished for what they are doing. So he realizes that something is going wrong. But he will not support the idea that his own brothers, us, are entitled to get away from a bad marriage. I don't know how often he goes to Ngembo, where his father's house is. He has lived all his life in Yaoundé. He has his businesses in Yaoundé. I think he with his sister have even created something they call the Mona Foundation, which is based in Yaoundé. So Akere Mona, he has a political party. He runs for office to be president in Yaoundé. He postulates and asks the people to punish people forever, whatever thing has been stolen, whatever crimes have been committed in Yaoundé. He has traveled around to New York. He's gone to world capitals using the privileged position that he has. But he has never for a moment preached the freedom of Ambazonia. He believes, I've said before, that even in the worst marriage, a battered wife had better died in the marriage, in a bad marriage, than to gain freedom and go back to her parents. And so that is all what Akere Mona is. Let us take him for what he is. Nobody should ever mistake to think that he's from Ambazonia. He has never been, and he will never be. Because when he fights to prosecute these who have stolen money, who have done all wrongs in Yaoundé, he goes to do same in the Congo, he goes to do same in the Cote d'Ivoire. But he's fighting for those things also because he's a lawyer. He will get paid for those services in cash. And in Cameroon, if there's an opportunity, he will get rewarded with a political office for which, as a politician, he has a political party he fights for. And so that is Akere Mona. He doesn't represent his senior brother Ben. He does not represent his late father, Esti Mona. Because, as I've said, in spite of all the wrongs, all what we said of Esti Mona, he is one of the very few who, even though on his dying bed, apologized and sought forgiveness from Ambazonians. So that is it. We should know that our fate, our success, does not depend on Keremuna. Our success depends upon that we fight and fight and fight, as Ben Mona told us in his last words before he died. Thank you, and over to you.
Yes, please. Barrister Tim, why do you think that Akaramuna right now is not so interested in the total freedom of Ambazonia?
Well, if you got me right, it's not just right now. He has never been. He has, since coming back from Europe, where he studied law, he set up in Yaoundé. His law offices are in Yaoundé. He has lived there. He seems to have seen an advantage of being there. That's why from Yaoundé, he has created a political party. He has never been part of the Anglophone world in any form or shape. I don't remember him even being a member, an active member of the SDF in the 90s that people thought was going to fight for Ambazonia. He was never one. But his brother, late Ben, was one. Very active member, powerful lawyer for the SDF, even though the SDF got derailed. So we make the mistake to think that every Muna is a Muna. Now, this is a Muna who is not for Ambazonia. He has never seen, he sympathizes with us that the wrongs can be righted, if possible, but he doesn't sympathize with us that we are entitled to our own freedom. As I've said and I illustrated, he believes that once, even in a bad marriage, which was a very bad marriage, if there was even one, if you were being raped, if you were being killed, you better die in that marriage than to regain your own freedom. That's in summary what I think about him. He has never been for Ambazonia. He has never been for British Southern Cameroon. He has never been for West Cameroon. He has never been for us.
That's a different Muna, if we got you correctly. All right, Barrister Team, we still have some other reports would want you to react to. Just hold on still. Well, moving on. In an alarming development, key figures within the Catholic Church in the Cameroons, led by Bishop Nkia, have been implicated, caught on camera in VAR attempts manipulating citizens' participation in the upcoming presidential elections organized by the BS corrupt government. This move, seen by many as an attempt to sway the electoral outcome, duly raises serious concerns about the integrity of religious leaders in their political sphere, especially against the backdrop of President Paul Biya's long-standing oppressive regime. While the people of southern Cameroons find this behavior offensive by a clergy of southern Cameroonian descent, considering the fact that La République du Cameroon has a very bad record with a ballot box from the Cui and Yes plebiscite of 1961. How is this even possible that without any caution put in place, clergy will even dare access people under such condition to partake in this kind of activity?
Well, the report also stated that the 49th plenary assembly talks about the 49th plenary assembly and all that happened there. But then there's this audio of the Catholic priest that we'd like to give to you before we get back to the rest of the report.
Vote big man, put big man again for chair, or for vote you big man. That one it be so say, when they call all Cameroonians
to vote a power man again or to vote a powerful man. So we thereby call all Cameroonians to register their names in the voting books so they can be able to vote, rather than just sitting home and complaining about the hardships. Go and vote. At the same time, we want to plead with those in charge of the voting process to ensure that voting is free and fair. That is, they would count the votes as they are and present the results just as they are. That is what we discussed in the meeting. And to conclude, we just want to say there is no Cameroonian who is better than another. All Cameroonians are Cameroonians, whether you are based in the north or the south or the east or the west. So we therefore say the things that God has provided for us in this country as natural resources should be used for the common good in such a way that it will be beneficial to each and everyone. That is a powerful message that we passed. To conclude, those making use of social media like WhatsApp, TikTok, and all those things on your phones, we just want to say those things have been spreading a lot of false information and causing people to hate one another. So we just want to say those using social media should use it to spread truth, to give good news, and not to promote lies and hatred. I thank you very much, and may God bless you. And to conclude again, this news about blessing a union between two males, the bishops have rejected it. We won't do that in Cameroon, and so shall it be. And by the grace of He who has risen from the dead, be bestowed unto all your families.
Thank you plenty, and may Joro die, the gracia, enter for all una family.
Mark the pages of history. December 2nd, 2019 became a landmark date. The nation of Ambazonia garnered recognition from Cameroon Municipal Barreri, setting the stage for an unprecedented partnership in a bold stride towards fostering deeper ties with the people and nation of Brazil. President Sacco steps into the limelight with the Brazilian press. At this critical time of war, history is poised to unfold once more. In the government's strategic plan, President Sacco will take the forefront of the diplomatic outreach program through media and press initiatives, sharing insights, visions, and the dawn of a new chapter in interviews that promise to captivate. This momentous affair will be streamed continuously on ABC Amba TV for our esteemed viewers. Be part of this movement. This is a crucial aspect of our media warfare. Join us in this crusade.
Well, sincerest apologies for that. I would take that report again. Now, in an alarming development, key figures within the Catholic Church in the Cameroons, led by Bishop Nkir, have been implicated. Caught on camera in attempts manipulating citizens' participation in the upcoming presidential election organized by BS corrupt government. Now, this move, seen by many as an attempt to sway the electoral outcome, unduly raises serious concerns and questions about the integrity of religious leaders in the political sphere, especially against the backdrop of the presidential Paul Biya's standing oppressive regime. Now, the people of Southern Cameroon found the behavior offensive by a clergy of Southern Cameroonian descent, considering the fact that La Republique du Cameroon has a very, very bad record within the ballot box from Cui and the Yes plebiscite of 1961. Now, the Frundi's election rigged in 1992, and most recently, the Marus Kamto's mysterious loss in 2018. How is it even possible that without any caution out and put in place, clergy will even dare access people on
Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. From the azure embrace of the Atlantic reflecting from the Ambas Bay, the iconic Fako Mountain ascends with a silent, stoic grace, carving a silhouette against the sky. This towering sentinel is more than a geographical marvel. It is the heart of Southern Cameroons, the stoic guardian of Ambazonia, a symbol steadfast as the unyielding spirit manifests in the unity of the land's 13 counties. Encircling this earthen spire, a dove of peace edges its out, untouched and serene. As it soars with wings unfurled, it casts shadows upon the land, each feather a brushstroke of tranquility. Against the canvas of the heavens, 13 stars glimmer, the celestial acknowledgement of each county's shared dreams and harmonious virtues. The dove, in its eternal flight, is not merely a bird, but an embodiment of the collective longing for a peaceful existence under a shared identity. Beneath the mountain top, firmly grounded in the richness of the earth, twin elephant tusks rise as natural monuments. Their arcs, regal and commanding, capture the noble essence of the land spirit animals. This emblem, this seal of Ambazonia, is no mere insignia. It is the beacon that illuminates the path to shared prosperity. It is an oasis of unity in a world parched by discord, a visual whisper of a nation's promise, echoing across generations. Every curve, every symbol within them, the story of Southern Cameroons, an epic scripted by the enduring strength and unity of its communities. Each page imbued with hopes and enduring spirit of its people. Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia.
Mark the pages of history. December 2nd, 2019 became a landmark date. The nation of Ambazonia garnered recognition from Cameroon Municipal Barreri, setting the stage for an unprecedented partnership in a bold stride towards fostering deeper ties with the people and nation of Brazil. President Sacco steps into the limelight with the Brazilian press. At this critical time of war, history is poised to unfold once more. In the government's strategic plan, President Sacco will take the forefront of the diplomatic outreach program through media and press initiatives, sharing insights, visions, and the dawn of a new chapter in interviews that promise to captivate. This momentous affair will be streamed continuously on ABC Amba TV for our esteemed viewers. Be part of this movement. This is a crucial aspect of our media warfare. Join us in this crusade. Mark the pages of history. December 2nd, 2019 became a landmark date. The nation of Ambazonia garnered recognition from Cameroon Municipal Barreri, setting the stage for an unprecedented partnership in a bold stride towards fostering deeper ties with the people and nation of Brazil. President Sacco steps into the limelight with the Brazilian press. At this critical time of war, history is poised to unfold once more. In the government's strategic plan, President Sacco will take the forefront of the diplomatic outreach program through media and press initiatives, sharing insights, visions, and the dawn of a new chapter in interviews that promise to captivate. This momentous affair will be streamed continuously on ABC Amba TV for our esteemed viewers. Be part of this movement. This is a crucial aspect of our media warfare. Join us in this crusade.
Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. From the azure embrace of the Atlantic reflecting from the Ambas Bay, the iconic Fako Mountain ascends with a silent, stoic grace, carving a silhouette against the sky. This towering sentinel is more than a geographical marvel. It is the heart of southern Cameroons, the stoic guardian of Ambazonia, a symbol steadfast as the unyielding spirit manifests in the unity of the land's 13th counties. Encircling this earthen spire, a dove of peace edges its arc, untouched and serene. As it soars with wings unfurled, it casts shadows upon the land, each feather a brushstroke of tranquility. Against the canvas of the heavens, 13 stars glimmer, a celestial acknowledgement of each county's shared dreams and harmonious virtues. The dove, in its eternal flight, is not merely a bird, but an embodiment of the collective longing for a peaceful existence under a shared identity. Beneath the mountain top, firmly grounded in the richness of the earth, twin elephant tusks rise as natural monuments. Their arcs, regal and commanding, capture the noble essence of the land spirit animals. This emblem, this seal of Amazonia, is no mere insignia. It is the beacon that illuminates the path to shared prosperity. It is an oasis of unity in a world parched by discord, a visual whisper of a nation's promise, echoing across generations. Every curve, every symbol within the emblem tells the story of Southern Cameroons, an epic scripted by the enduring strength and unity of its communities. Each page imbued with hopes and enduring spirit of its people. Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Amazonia.
The number one most important thing for every Ambazonian to do right now is the draft. We stand at the threshold of an existential struggle, a pivotal juncture in our proud history that brooks no failure, tolerates no hesitation. So we will draft incessantly, individually, within the warm, vibrant tapestries of our communities. We will draft. We must draft. Draft, for in this paramount task, our draft, lies the power to liberate Ambazonia.
Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 202-650-2216. Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call +124-028-43-111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com. Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV.
I am Ambassador Henry Fosun, and I want to make a few things right. What the leader of our war, Samuel Sako Ekame, has explained this morning about referendum, I do agree with him, but I would want to make some records straight. We are a country recognized by the United Nations in a way because the International Court of Justice, ICJ, decided to keep our frontiers safe for us by the request and the writing I made in 1994. And there was a Green Tree Agreement in our territory that the International Court of Justice requested Nigeria and La République to agree that they cannot in any way occupy our territory. Because they know that we did achieve the basic objective of the trusteeship system. We were a trusteeship territory, a child of the United Nations. I shall get time to expand on all this for you to know. We are two countries here. Unfortunately for us, even though they tried in all ways, people tried to push us into the arm of La République with all fraud. They have failed because La République has rejected us in quite a good number of times. I think the war that they brought on us is one of those rejections, and that makes the fifth rejection. The resolution 1608 of the United Nations is a non-starter. That's why I've been calling it a resolution that is null and void. Why? Because Great Britain did not allow our people to participate in it, knowing that we were going to accept to do only what was right. And then, of course, La République du Cameroon and France, their master, voted no against it. When you vote no against a law, that law cannot bind you if your no is accepted and is a principle in accepting or denying that resolution. I could elaborate if there be time. Secondly, this war is meant to do two things. Mr. Biya himself declared that they had tried to assimilate us and failed. It is because they failed to assimilate us by all intrigues and fraud that they decided to wage a war of genocide and annexation. You can see the way they are fighting it. Look at the way they kill our people in Bali. They poisoned them. Look at the way they destroy our villages. Look at the way they have killed us. Look at how they treat pregnant women. And they don't have any feeling for us at all. They have never had it. So therefore, the United Nations knows that we are a free people. Even if you take that resolution, you can see some of the examples of the acceptance that we are a free people. I will elaborate someday. And I think for today, it is enough to say that we are two nations before God and man. We have never had any legal sanction between us since that we started. That we should note. It is right, our brave boys and girls, our sons, great sons, and those making sure that they guide them and provide for them as Sako is doing. I dock my hat to all of you and continue to do what you're doing. No one will take what is ours away. You have decided you're using your bodies to take bullets from an enemy. Don't change it. La République cannot be party to a case and is allowed to be a judge in the same case. We cannot accept it, and we will never accept it. Long live the state of the Sultan Cameroons, a sovereign country from 1954. Congratulations to our sons and daughters. You are winning every battle. God is with you. He will continue to be with us till Sako and his interim government guards us to Boya. Congratulations, Sako. Continue.
Ambazonia's Independence Day 2023. Resilience unveiled. Ambazonians worldwide showcase heritage with pride in the October 1st, 2023 Independence Day commemoration. Defiant after 7 years of conflict. October 1st Independence Day commemorations this year was simply unique. It was a defiant jubilation. Ambazonia's 7-year stand for sovereignty captured a global spotlight.
Indeed, as the crimson hues of dawn crept over the virgin hills of Amazonia, the air was already pulsating with the rhythm of unwavering resistance. October 1st, 2023 marks the 7th anniversary of what has been a bold assertion of identity and demand for autonomy that has captured the world's attention.
The people of Ambazonia, with a spirit as unyielding as the mountains that cradle their homeland, gathered in a defiant celebration of their steadfast journey towards self-determination. Despite years of struggle and the formidable challenges that lay ahead, their collective resolve remains a beacon of hope to all nations.
Not just the Ambazonian Restoration Forces demonstrating and showcasing military might, it was a nation that less than a decade ago was at the precipice of nullification, now demonstrating military might and willingness to be totally free from occupation.
Such a great evolution in a revolution we have witnessed within a very short time. Remember, these volunteers we now call the Amazonian Restoration Forces started with their bare hands, protecting the women and children of Amazonia from the French Cameroon's brutality. We saw them evolve from that into day guns, and look at where they are today.
The interesting part for me was how these guys were able to coordinate the civilian population. We saw the Amazonian Restoration Forces leading dance groups, giving speeches of encouragement and sharing food with the local communities. It was simply heartwarming.
To even think of the fact that these restoration forces are the same forces Yaoundé and her proxy media wants the world to believe that they are oppressing their people. On the contrary, we saw a local population that felt safe in front of our armed men. That alone is proof of itself that I don't think words can provide.
When images from different nations in the world started popping in our different fora and social media platforms, I couldn't resist but get lost in the beauty of them.
It is one thing to watch such beautiful images, but it is another thing to be actively involved in the making. Just looking at those images and you literally want to relive the moment, where comrades who have never known each other meet up for a unique experience.
The nostalgia, the faith of freedom was rekindled. It was not just the Ambazonian Restoration Forces, nor the protest marches in different parts of the world like Berlin, Austria, Brazil, the United States, and more. The fearless demonstrations at the home front were from almost every local government area and county.
Our people at the home front, especially in the areas that were not heavily militarized by the forces of occupation, came out in large numbers and colors, with both old and young dancing, marching, and enjoying traditional music, food, and fresh beauties. Home, sweet home for them.
Watching the fearless demonstrations at the home front from almost every local government and county was really exhilarating and lifted my spirit.
Both young and old danced, marched, and enjoyed traditional moments. The freedom to fully express ourselves in our colors and rhythms, looking at these images happens to be a shocking reality in our day.
The question on everybody's lips was, did you get your amber wrapper? It was one unique aspect of the October 1st celebration this year, which was literally the Ambazonian historic cloth or the wrapper.
Anticipation was high, and everywhere people were talking about the amber wrapper. It was like the new emblem of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, and it was almost as if there would be no October 1st commemoration without it. On the day of the celebrations, everywhere was illuminated with this symbolic wrapper. The amber wrapper was selling like hotcakes. A newly declared holiday, the UN Southern Cameroon's Memorial Day, was commemorated. The declaration of this new holiday by President Sako, the United Nations Southern Cameroon's Memorial Day for September 30th, 2023, came with its own energy, and Ambazonians were passionate about it.
And like President Sako explained, on that day, 62 years ago, the United Nations handed over the Union Jack to Cameroon instead of Foncha, thereby facilitating the annexation of southern Cameroons. It was crucial to officially recognize this day so that future generations will revisit the truth and understand the historical significance of this event.
On that note, Ambazonians eagerly took to the streets of the world with posters and placards saying, "The UN Southern Cameroon's Memorial Day." It was such a beauty to watch.
Military manifesto of the Ambazonian Restoration Forces at home front in combination with the diaspora manifestations. The proper coordination showed some great sense of leadership and a force that was loved by the people.
Refugees received gifts, a positive representation of the Ambazonian government's support and willingness to serve its people at all levels.
It has always been the intention of President Sako to extend the celebrations to Ambazonian refugees, not only in neighboring Nigeria, but in other parts of the world. As you can see, they receive support and solidarity from the government. This display of care and inclusivity highlighted the government's understanding of the fact that the impact of the conflict is not just limited to the people at the home front, but all Ambazonians.
The global celebrations, I would say, was one very strategic way to rally support from the international community.
The international community is beginning to engage with the legitimate Ambazonian government.
The Ambazonian people are unified in their quest for freedom.
The display of strength and enthusiasm for their duties by the Ambazonian Restoration Forces sends a potent message that La République du Cameroon should not ignore. If Cameroonian authorities continue to delay and fail to engage in negotiations properly as they mourn their casualties that is an increasing number, it will not be long before Ambazonia decisively expels them from the Ambazonian national territory, and such an outcome will be marked by their utmost humiliation. The atmosphere of the October 1st commemoration in Ambazonia was one of hope, resilience, and unity.
The Ambazonian people are determined. Ambazonia is free.
Well, you're welcome back. Sorry for that long break in transmission. We're back with the news in its details.
Well, in an alarming development, key figures within the Catholic Church in the Cameroons led by Bishop Nkir have been implicated. Caught on camera in various attempts manipulating citizen participation in the upcoming presidential election organized by BA's corrupt government. This move, seen by many as an attempt to sway the electoral outcome unduly, raises serious questions about the integrity of religious leaders in the political sphere, especially against the backdrop of President Paul Biya's long-standing oppressive regime.
Well, the people of Southern Cameroon find this behavior offensive by a clergy of Southern Cameroon's decent, considering the fact that La République du Cameroon has a very bad record with the ballot box from the Oui and Yes plebiscite of 1961, the Burundi's election in 1992, and most recently the Maurice Kamto's mysterious loss in 2018. How is it even possible that without any caution put in place, clergies will even ask the people under such conditions to partake in this kind of an activity?
Well, just on Saturday, we talked about the roles religious leaders play in the Ambazonian quest for freedom. We dealt specifically with the Sarki of the Otan in Bamenda. We had Barrister Fru Johnson and Barrister Mbasir dissecting this topic, pointing out some intricacies, bases, as well as pointing out the obvious. Well, just yesterday, we got a report from CNA stating that Catholic bishops calls for massive voter registration ahead of 2025 elections. Well, the report also stated that the 49th Plenary Assembly of the Bishops of the Cameroons, held from the 7th to the 13th of April 2024, had the bishops of the Catholic Church under the National Episcopal Conference of the Cameroons calling for citizens to register massively against the upcoming presidential election in La République du Cameroon. Now, let's take a listen.
Vote big man, or put big man again for chair, or for vote you big man. That one, it be so say, we call all Cameroonians
To vote a power man again or to vote a powerful man. So we thereby call all Cameroonians to register their names in the voting books so they can be able to vote, rather than just sitting home and complaining about the hardships. Go and vote. At the same time, we want to plead with those in charge of the voting process to ensure that voting is free and fair. That is, they would count the votes as they are and present the results just as they are. That is what we discussed in the meeting. And to conclude, we just want to say there is no Cameroonian who is better than another. All Cameroonians are Cameroonians, whether you are based in the north or the south or the east or the west. So we therefore say the things that God has provided for us in this country as natural resources should be used for the common good in such a way that it will be beneficial to each and everyone. That is a powerful message that we passed. To conclude, those making use of social media like WhatsApp, TikTok, and all those things you do on your phones, we just want to say that those things have been spreading a lot of false information and causing people to hate one another. So we just want to say those using social media should use it to spread truth, to give good news, and not to promote lies and hatred. I thank you very much, and may God bless you. And to conclude again, this news about blessing a union between two males, the bishops have rejected it. We won't do that in Cameroon, and so shall it be. And by the grace of He who has risen from the dead, be bestowed unto all your families.
Thank you plenty, and may Joro for die, in Gracia, enter for all una family.
Oh, well, since the inception of the Cameroons, there has never been a free and fair election. Dating back to 1992, Nijon Frundi's elections were rigged. La République has been known for rigging elections. It was clear even from the US ambassador, and everyone in the world knew and saw it because they could fathom, or they couldn't fathom or accept that a Bamenda indigene would be the president of the Cameroons. With all of these inconsistencies, we're thinking that Catholic priests who are supposed to be men of God, who are supposed to live exemplary and should be able to ask the necessary questions, will be able to help the people. But here we have this.
Well, for the records, they have not been able to criticize or condemn the evil programs of Biya or his misuse of the Constitution, nor have they ever criticized the lives being lost in the war. What guarantee do the people of the Cameroons have that their votes will count in 2025? What's the proof that they will have a better life? What has changed so far in the political arena of the people?
Well, all La Republic and its surrogates know seems to be war and a military approach. That is all they seem to know. After La Republic's president, Paul Biya declared war on the peace-loving peoples of Amazonia when they set out to reclaim their birthright. In the same style, a certain Colonel Nkoto Petit has categorically stated his intentions to use military force in bringing peace. How paradoxical. He should actually ask his president how such a strategy went for him.
On Thursday, 11th April 2024, in Buea, the federal capital, Colonia Nkoto Petit, Paul Aurelien, made it abundantly clear that, in his words, says, I am committed to doing everything I can to achieve peace. While the newly appointed Colonial La Republic de Cameroon commander pledged to use his 25 years of military experience to promote peace and unity in the war-torn Amazonian southern zone, where an armed conflict has been raging for years now. Well, the Betty Bolu occupier Nkoto reiterated his determination to restore peace, stressing the need for concerted efforts to address the challenges facing La Republic de Cameroon's breadbasket.
Well, from every indication, annexationist Yaoundé by this act is still telling the world that it has a firm grip over the southern Cameroons, imposing its military power so as to continue exploitation of our resources. The federal government's 2024 exit draft must nip such La Republic's voting ambitions in the bud. In the words of President Sako, Amazonia is the only country we can truly call home. So those who want us to be homeless should not expect to sleep in peace in their homes. Well, then the question is, how can peace be restored without justice?
Meanwhile, the British Southern Cameroons region has been plagued by serious arson incidents with yet another fire outbreak occurring amidst the chaos. While natural disasters cannot be discounted, evidence suggests a significant human element, possibly orchestrated by La Republic de Cameroon administration. Are there natural disasters? Certainly. Are there man-made disasters? Are there international acts of arson? Yes, for all questions. While evidence, clues, and hints point to La Republic de Cameroon for the severe fire outbreaks, there is also the possibility of human carelessness, as well as La Republic de Cameroon's carelessness with its power, voltage, causing electrical spark escalating to huge fire outbreaks.
Well, reports on the got yesterday says huge fire broke out in a house where adulterated fuel, commonly called funge, was stored. This fire was accompanied by a loud explosion, affecting nearby buildings in Tombell. The intensity of the fire prevented any rescue attempt by surrounding residents. Now, the question is, was this an honest accident? Due to the scenario surrounding this incident, it is more likely believed that it indeed, out of the so many proven intentional acts of arson, was an accident this time. And while a lot of people are blaming those hoarding these fungi in their houses, it is a reminder to others as well who have such inflammables lingering around their residence to desist from hoarding such in residential apartments. In as much as we know that such illicit conservation and clandestine sales of these fungi are the direct consequences of a crumbling economy and inflated fuel prices, it is still very wise to desist from the temptation to hoard these types of product and any other inflammable for your safety.
Well, the question on how it started still unanswered. While there could be so many guesses as to how it started, there's still the possibility of the electrical high tensions just above these houses sparking and leading to these disastrous fire outbreak, like it did in the market when able-bodied Southern Cameroons quelled it, not letting the spark escalate.
But in all, whatever the case, it still points out to the destroyed administration of La Republique that cannot until date provide fire service, or maybe can, but would not do that for Ambazonia because they know Ambazonia is not a part of them and should not as well be their responsibility.
The lack of adequate fire services exacerbates the danger faced by residents, highlighting the failures of La Republic to Cameroon administration to address emergencies in the region. One of the main reasons Ambazonia is fighting for her freedom, where their basic needs would be tended to as a sovereign nation with a sovereign government.
Well, we'll get on to another report of Thibault Nage. Thibault Nage Jr., a former United States Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, has been a prominent figure fighting for the oppressed peoples of Amazonia and a retired high-profile diplomat. It is important during such critical times of war for Amazonia to have international partners in the diplomatic circle like Thibault Nage that has been speaking on Amazonia's behalf.
Well, the Amazonian War in the Cameroons, which has been raging since 2017 in the northwestern and southwestern regions, continues to generate international debate and responses. Well, the former U.S. Under Secretary of State for African Affairs Thibault Nage spoke of this complex situation, pointing the finger at Paul Biya's regime as the root of the conflict. Thibault Nage, a staunch supporter of the creation of an Amazonian state in the Cameroons, used social networks to express his point of view. According to him, the Cameroonian authorities had not taken sufficient account of the concerns of the English-speaking minority, in quote. The latter, who represents about 20% of the population, has long expressed demands relating to language, culture, and political representation.
Well, Thibault Nage hits hard on the prevailing situation in the Cameroons, and in his message, Thibault Nage compared the situation in the Cameroons with that of Canada, a country that also has English-speaking and French-speaking regions. He stressed that the English-speaking majority in Canada treats the French-speaking minority with dignity. However, he regretted that the French-speaking regime in the Cameroons was not following the same example vis-a-vis its English-speaking people. His statement is sad for the Amazonians who are experiencing the tragic consequences of this conflict. Nage lamented the failure of the Cameroon's government to emulate Canada's approach to minority rights. His comment underscores the deep-seated grievances amongst the southern Cameroons, whom he describes as Anglophones in the Cameroons, who have long bemoaned marginalization and discrimination by the Francophone-dominated government. His tweet read, having just been to Canada to see how the 80% Anglophone majority treats the Francophone minority with dignity makes me grieve for Cameroon's Amazonians. He tweeted this on Monday, April 15th. And if only Cameroon's Francophone regime dealt with their Anglophones the same way, there would be no Amazonian conflict. Tragic, he ended that tweet.
Well, Najee's advocacy for Amazonian quest for freedom is not new. The Southern Cameroon's Amazonian equation remains a major challenge to La Republic to Cameroon's stability and unity, and calls for urgent negotiated settlements and the search for peaceful solutions are more necessary than ever to overcome these impasses that has claimed over 50,000 lives in the senseless war. Worthy to note here is that the term Anglophone is borrowed for de facto independent recognized people, however, modeled up in an unworkable system of independence by joining former UN Secretary General Dag Hammarskjöld from 1953 to September 18, 1961. He warned that this unworkable system was likely forcing a bloated balloon underwater, and one day this balloon will resurface.
Apparently, the time has come for Amazonians when they resurface out of the water. But then if someone who has worked as an ambassador of the US of America, of Africa rather, what is the excuse of all the diplomats in the world to stay silent if the likes of Thibault Nage could speak up for Amazonia? The fact that Thibault Nage had to bring to question the unfair treatment of Amazonia again shows the dire degree and that marginalization can be seen until date. Only the dilapidated state of a huge degree of the British Southern Cameroons attests to this fact of marginalization. The infrastructure in Amazonia cannot even be found, which also shows and points to the marginalization of the British Southern Cameroons. Institutions destroyed with no airports in the entire Southern Cameroons, and with all of the airports situated in La Republique. Even the Southern Cameroons Bank were destroyed. The negligence of La Republique can as well be seen in series of fire outbreaks with no concern of providing effective fire services available in the southern Cameroons. The marginalization goes on and on. Even though the truth remains that Amazonia was poorly treated by those considered brothers of the southern Cameroons, Amazonia, the fight of Amazonia right now is not all about marginalization, but a stolen in that Amazonia is fighting to ensure, as well as ensure its sovereignty is actualized. Oh, we still have with us a barrister team in the house, which I'm sure he'd have to answer certain questions in this regards in the report. Oh, barrister team, good to still have you here with us.
Thank you. I'm still there.
So, barrister team, let me just ask this question in regards to the very last report we just took. Some persons are thinking that the struggle for liberation for Amazonians is basically because they are the minority and they have been marginalized, which is also part of Thibonard's sentiment, and this is part of his concern for the southern Cameroon's Amazonia. But then we know that there is more to that. It's not just marginalization. It has gotten to a point of seeking sovereignty due to the fact that Amazonians' historicity holds that they are a sovereign nation that has been bounded by La Republique. I'm sure you want to shed more light on these thoughts that people have about the struggle of liberation.
I think very often people, diplomats inclusive, don't understand what they call the Anglophone problem. It is not marginalization now. Maybe if some marginalization is there, but that is essential. You only want it to become marginalization. That will help them to say the narrative of reunification. Because when you say marginalization, what do you mean? You simply mean that others are having something and you're being ignored because of yourself. But that's not what is happening. If we go that way, we'll miss the road. If you go that way, for example, we talk about hospitals. If you say, well, we're marginalized because we don't have a good hospital in Turnberg, we don't have a fire station there, we don't have one in Bamenda, or Boya, Kuma. You say, no, you're not marginalized because there's no good hospital in Munda. There's none in Komsamba. Neither is there anyone in Bedouin. So you're just one of the other people who are benefiting, who are not having anything from the little that we have. And so that's the narrative of reunification. You're just part of the whole and suffering just like other parts of the whole are suffering. Our problem is assimilation, absorption, put it like that. Slavery, in short. Because when you capture a slave, someone is so into slavery, you become the property of the slave owner. You cannot complain of not having your farm, not having your food, not having your wife, or not having your children or your husband. You are a slave. The slave master decides what you eat, when you go out, when you have a husband or a wife. And so our problem is assimilation, which has been confirmed by Yaoundé, President Paul Biya himself, who attempted to assimilate these people and failed. Which, going back in history, in 1961, Yaoundé did not vote for independence by joining President 1852, who said, would you like to get independence by joining? The people said no. There's nothing called independence for these people by joining. They wanted us just to come back. For them, we like to go back to the Republic of Cameroon, not having independence. They have never believed in Ambazonia existing as a people. Because for you to talk about marginalization, it must be a people. It must be a group, a constituted group, to complain that they divided this thing I didn't have yours. Take it like a big palace back at home. For a woman to say she's poorly treated, you must be an independent woman in your own house with your 3 children. The other woman will have 2. Another one has 5. And then they kill this cow in the big house. And they give you just a tail. I said, but I have 5 children. They gave the other woman a whole leg. They gave the other one a whole back. I'm marginalized because they gave me very little or nothing. So that is not our problem. Our problem is not marginalization. Our problem is attempt at making us slaves. Assimilation, which Pobia admits, has failed. And so that will take us to what Tribunal was saying. Tribunal understands, but he misses the point. When it comes to Canada, the difference is in Canada, the majority is English speaking. The English speaking majority recognizes the Quebecois as a people. They speak French, but that is not all. They recognize them for their language. They recognize them for their institutions. I see this is a problem of so-called Anglophone of Cameroon. Paul Biya and Ahiji before him, and Kamto after Paul Biya or whoever, does not believe they were entitled to some institutions that govern over us as a people. They don't believe in that. That is why, for example, in 1993, when the Anglophones are asking for an examination board to manage their specified exams, they give something called backboard. The Francophones are not asking for a backboard. So they just wanted, what they're giving, they just wanted it to be part of the structures. So if you have an examination board in Boya, you just a board, let there be a backboard in here only. So you're just one of the 2 boards. So tomorrow we're saying that, look, our board is not properly financed. They say, no, we're not giving you the same money, we're doing the same thing to the backboard. You're just one of the 2 boards in the country. We will ask for an Anglo-Saxon university. It was meant for us, for example, in that university, to do things that are done the Anglo-Saxon way. Teach common law, for example. Do all those things. But when they gave us the so-called Boya University, which they call Anglo-Saxon, they created many others, just to make us look at one of the several universities in the country. And back to Tribunal. Yeah, when they know it was because for it to work, the majority should be doing something to woo the minority to come to them, not the reverse. They are not wooing us to come to the whole with our own institutions, with our own specificities. No, they want to abolish what we are and what we have been for the past 50, 60, 70 years. If you look at what Tabondash is saying, in Canada, the Quebecois have organized referendum to see where they should have independence, exclusively for Quebecois. And the Quebecois voted no, we don't want to have it. They're anxious to stay with their brothers who speak English. They voted it down. The same thing happened in the UK. The Scots, who are a minority in the British state of the United Kingdom, organized a referendum only for Scots alone. She will have our independence as Scottish people. They voted among themselves, no, we don't want to go, we want to remain in the UK. Yaoundé will never offer that opportunity because they don't believe that we are even a people. They have argued that publicly in court, they argue in Banjul, they have argued it at The Hague. They went to the Hague complaining that Northern Cameroon was part of their territory, should not have gone away. They took an action in the World Court, International Court of Justice, and lost. So their perception of us is not a people who are entitled to, because when you say you're a people, you're entitled to certain rights that go with the people. When you talk of marginalization, you are part of the whole that is seeking to get a common piece of the pie.
Barrister Mbesia, let me cut you in there briefly. No, you made mention, and I was waiting for you to get to this point. You made mention of the difference between the Ambazonian situation and the Canadian situation. Now, there is no doubt that the situation between the Canada and the Cameroons cannot be effectively similarized. But do you agree with those who feel that the peoples of Southern Cameroons cannot have the same treatment like those in Canada because the whole setup in the Cameroons was founded on the basis of fraud?
Of course, the whole system, I've said this many times before, that exists in what they call Cameroon today, should never have even been formed. Because the 1961 plebiscite simply asked us, do you wish to get independent? It was a wish. By joining Nigeria or joining the Republic, it was a manifestation of intention. In that plebiscite, only Southern Cameroonians voted. Yaoundé did not vote. The people of the Republic did not vote. But they had the opportunity to pronounce on whether they wanted any union with the Republic, with the English-speaking Cameroon or not. That was on the 21st of April 1961 in Resolution 1608. We should say, okay, these people voted to join you. Do you agree that we should join you? They said no. They voted no. We don't want this marriage. So they have never even wanted us. But having been forced on them, you see what? They have been forced on me, I will take them. I've given this example before. A woman sitting there. If somebody was wooing you for his son in Japan, or what these things arranged marriage at home. And at the end of the day, the guy came and met you. And he said, I'm not marrying this man. I'm not marrying this woman. And your parents said, well, we got the money from his parents. You must marry him. And they forced you to his house. That man will be free to treat you as a slave. Because you have no way to, if your own family has rejected you by forcing you to marry, then you didn't want. So it should not have existed as soon as they voted, that the Republic voted no for 1608, that would have ended the matter there. Independent by joining should not have come at all. We would not have been where we are. Would that have affected our independence? No. For United Nations had earlier declared in December 1960, Resolution 1514, that every people under colonization must have independence. So they were not going to say, well, you're not getting independent until you join A or you join B. So the Republic is actually dishonest. Again, as I've said, they have told the world by itself. You and me, they will not, anybody in the world. It was on audio, it was on video. 4 years said, we tried to assimilate them and we did not succeed. If you don't succeed in assimilating them, what do? Take a python. A python wants to swallow a porcupine. You know, a porcupine will eat what they call chowo beef. If that thing got stuck on its neck, it will vomit it out. It will not be coming back to swallow it. The porcupine will simply gain its freedom and go away. Who got stuck on their neck, they did not succeed in vomiting, in swallowing us. Why must we go back to them? Who else on earth sees death, frees himself or herself, and goes back to the set trap? I wonder if you understand me from that angle. What do you?
No, that's very deep. But definitely, we'll definitely come back to you, Barrister Mbesia. I agree. I agree. Not angry any less either. The assertions you're making, but we have a report at the end that we would like you to talk about. Please kindly stay patient with us, and a very interesting report. Just hold on a bit.
Well, we'll get across to you news around Africa. Well, in Sudan, as Sudan approaches the 1 year mark of the war between the military led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the Rapid Support Force, the RSF, under the command of General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, humanitarian agencies warn that the country is on the brink of famine due to its precarious conditions and inadequate aid. Since the conflict erupted a year ago, thousands have been killed and 8 million people have been displaced within Sudan or to neighboring countries, according to United Nations data. The worsening conditions and insufficient assistance are exacerbating the risk of famine in Sudan, with security emerging as the primary concern for humanitarian organizations. Recent warnings from international authorities highlight the urgent need for action to prevent widespread death, livelihood collapse, and a catastrophic hunger crisis in Sudan. However, the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, the IPC, has been unable to update its assessment due to security challenges and limited access. But in December, its assessment revealed that 17.7 million Sudanese faced acute food insecurity, with approximately 5 million individuals at risk of famine.
Well, Sudan, devastated by a year-long conflict, is on the brink of famine as diplomats and aid organizations gather in Paris to seek support. The conflict erupted last April between military and paramilitary forces, causing chaos in Khartoum and chaos across the nation. With 24 million in need, the UN's $2.7 billion humanitarian appeal remains largely unfunded, leaving millions at risk. While initially the United States and Saudi Arabia spearheaded efforts to resolve the conflict through negotiation, however, these efforts failed, and since October, the conflict has been overshadowed by the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza, raising fears of a broader regional conflict. Relief workers caution that Sudan faces a looming catastrophe of starvation with the potential for mass casualties in the coming months. Food production and distribution seems to have collapsed, and aid agencies struggle to reach the most affected areas. World donors pledged more than $2.1 billion in humanitarian aid for Sudan after war that has pushed its population into the brink of famine. French President Emmanuel Macron said on Monday. Macron spoke at the end of the international conference in Paris aimed at dropping up support for Sudan's 51 million people. The aid will go to food, water, medicines, and other urgent needs, he said, without providing a specific timeline. While the ongoing conflict in Sudan has caused immense suffering, displacing millions and putting the country on the brink of famine like that of southern Cameroon, it is crucial for international support and coordination aid organizations to come together to prevent further tragedy. The UN's appeal for funding is vital to providing assistance to those in need. Let's hope that diplomatic efforts and humanitarian aid can make a difference and bring relief to the people of Sudan.
Well, natural disasters seem to be happening in some parts of Africa. In Tanzania, heavy rains persist, causing floods that have claimed the lives of 58 individuals over the past fortnight, as announced by the government. The coastal region bore the brunt of the devastation, affecting 126,831 people, as per official figures. Government spokesperson Mubare Matini revealed on Sunday that vital supplies, including food, have been dispatched to assist the affected populace. Additionally, Tanzania intends to construct 14 dams to mitigate future flooding incidents.
Well, across East Africa, intense rainfall persists, with neighboring Kenya also grappling with flooding, resulting in the loss of at least 13 lives so far. The infrastructure has suffered insignificant damage, prompting authorities to advise residents in flood-prone areas to relocate. The meteorologist anticipates the rainfall will peak towards the end of the current month.
Well, according to local authorities, heavy rains triggered a landslide in southwest Congo, resulting in the death of at least 15 individuals, with approximately 60 others reported missing as of Sunday. Following the landslide near the port close to Idiofa on Saturday, 7 survivors were discovered, as recounted by local deputy elected official Dede Mupasa to reporters on Sunday. Now, interim provincial governor Felician Kiwe informed the media that a rescue team had been dispatched to aid in the search for survivors. 7 individuals were found alive and hospitalized, but an estimated 60 individuals remained unaccounted for. Due to the area's usage as a marketplace every Saturday, a local official mentioned the challenge of accurately determining the exact number of missing individuals.
The natural disasters affecting countries in Africa, such as Tanzania and Kenya, is a call for the government of these countries to prioritize the safety and well-being of their citizens by providing immediate assistance, including medical aid to those affected. While it's also important to invest in long-term solutions, such as the construction of dams to mitigate future flooding incidents, international support and collaboration with humanitarian organizations can play a crucial role in providing relief and helping these countries recover from the impact of the disasters.
Well, a large number of people joined a protest in Niger's capital, Niamey, against the presence of foreign forces, including the United States military. The demonstration was organized by civil society groups associated with Niger's ruling military junta. This protest reflects Niger's swift and shift away from close cooperation with the United States in counterterrorism efforts and its growing reliance on Russia for security. Well, it can be seen as another call for the withdrawal of U.S. forces from Niger, especially since Russian troops recently arrived to support Niger's ruling junta.
While the presence of Russian troops in Niger has had an impact on the security situation in the country, with their arrival, they are providing security support to Niger's ruling junta. This presence may have both positive and negative implications. On the positive side, it could potentially enhance security measures and stability in the country. However, it's also important to closely monitor the dynamics and implications of foreign military involvement to ensure that it aligns with the long-term interests and sovereignty of Niger.
Now, it's hard to predict the exact impact of the presence of Russian troops on the relationship between Niger and the United States. But worthy to note that just before now we encountered when the French was chased out of Niger as well. But however, it is possible that it could strain their relationship as Niger is turning to Russia for security instead of relying on close cooperations with the United States in counterterrorism efforts. The ship may require diplomatic efforts to maintain open communications and collaborations between the two countries. The most important thing is for both nations to continue engaging in dialogue and finding common ground to ensure regional stability and security. Well, coming up next is news across the globe. While on news across the globe, Chinese yuan officially takes over US dollars, and it has officially become the most traded currency in Russia, beating United States dollar amidst an ongoing genocide in Palestine, Watcher Guru reported. According to new data reports, trade in yuan make up 42% of currency trades in Russia. Meanwhile, trading in dollars accounted for 39.5%. Moreover, the figures show that the trading volumes for the yuan had tripled, reaching $385 billion in 2023. With such extensive usage, it is anticipated that this year trading in yuan will increase more than the figure last year. Well, let's talk about how Israel and allied defenses intercepted more than 300 Iranian missiles and drones. Almost all the ballistic missiles and drones Iran launched at Israel in an unprecedented attack late Saturday were intercepted and failed to meet their mark, according to Israeli and American officials, highlighting the formidable and multi-layered missile defense deployed by the two allied partners. More than 300 Iranian munitions, the majority of which are believed to have been launched from inside of Iran's territory during a 5-hour attack, were intercepted before they got to Israel. More than 1,100 miles, that is about 1,770 kilometers, from their launch point. Israel's military said Sunday that 99% of projectiles fired by Iran were intercepted by Israel and its partners, with only a small number of ballistic missiles reaching Israel.
Meanwhile, U.S. media organizations push Biden and Trump for TV debate pledge. A dozen U.S. news outlets have called on their presumptive U.S. presidential nominees to commit to taking points and taking part in the TV debate ahead of the November's election. The statement did not name Joe Biden or Donald Trump, but said it was never too early for candidates to publicly declare they will take part. The latter warned the stakes of this year's poll were exceptionally high. Now, Mr. Trump, who skipped all 4 Republican primary debates, has said he is keen to debate President Biden. The statement published on Sunday was signed by the BBC's U.S. partner, CBS News, as well as the ABC, AP, CNN, and C-SPAN, Fox News, NBC Universal News Group, News Nation, NPR, PBS News R, Univision, and US Today. So we hope to see that.
Well, all eyes on Israel's response to Iran drone and missile attacks. Israeli PM Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened a war cabinet to discuss the attack, which has been condemned by President Joe Biden and the United Nations Secretary General. The Israeli military says 99% of the missiles and drones fired by Iran overnight were intercepted without hitting their target. Iran said the assault was in response to a deadly attack on an Iranian diplomatic compound in Syria 2 weeks ago. Now, where this goes next from here depends in large part on how Israel decides to respond to last night's attack.
Well, that's not all. Countries in the region and elsewhere, including those in Israel, are deeply disliked in the Iranian regime and have urged restraints. Well, Iran's position is along the lines of accounts settled, that is the end of the matter. Well, do not hit back at us, or we will mount a much stronger attack against you that you will not be able to ward off. But Israel has already vowed a significant response, and its government has often been called one of the most headline in Israeli history. Here is a breaking news.
Brought to you the tip of the iceberg. Well, here's the breaking news. Secretary of State for Communications and IT, Martin Mungwa, PhD, FASCE, received yet another crown from Maquis Who's Who publication board due to his political, academic, and community accomplishment. This prestigious recognition is meant for individuals who have made significant contributions to their different professions and to their society. It is worthy to note that Dr. Martin Mungwa did not only start by making academic contribution in the first and only engineering polytechnic in the Cameroons, he has also done so internationally now. He stands today as one of the faces of Ambazonia to tell the world that the people of Ambazonia can also be represented globally in the world of success and excellence. This is not just any regular recognition. I'm sure you'd agree with me, Omi.
Yes, indeed. Well, it is not. The Marquis Who is Who publication is an internationally recognized body that diligently seeks, empowers, and recognizes people who have distinguished themselves in society. And we are talking about the number one society in the world, the American society. So, as Ambazonians are proud, it would be important for us to let you know that some of the achievements of Dr. Martin Mungwa that led to this point. Now, Dr. Martin S. Munger, scientist, engineer, researcher, inventor, educator, and advocate of social justice. He is a humanitarian, the Ambazonian Revolution Secretary of State for Communications and IT, the government of the Federal Republic of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia 2021. He was also Assistant Controller General, the interim government of the Federal Republic of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia in 2019, honors inducted into the Marquis Who is Who in America in 2024 for contributing to the engineering profession and society, elected Fellow of the American Society of Engineers in 2021 for contribution to critical electric transmission infrastructure engineering, winner of the Third World Academy of Science Prize 1996 as scientist and inventor professional. Now, founder and financial strategist, Future Leadership Development LLC. Now, financial strategist and economic empowerment of diaspora Africans and minority communities in the United States in 2013. Well,
the list goes on, and that is just about who Dr. Martin Mungwa is. And onto his revolutionary stride, senior structural engineer, brand engineering and architecture, New York City, expertise in rehabilitation and new development, 2003, senior engineer and co-director, Wood Science and Technology Institute, Corvallis, Oregon, expertise in quality control and quality assessment in composite wood and tree-free structural elements for various building and furniture applications. 2001 lecturer, senior lecturer and head of Department of Civil Engineering, École Polytechnique Yaoundé, taught undergraduate and advanced courses in structural mechanics, instability, and pre-stressed concrete design, and that was in 1988 invention. Lead inventor, structural tubular connector for composite wood concrete assemblies, with a patent number 2751355, deposited on July 16th in 1996 and published as well on January 23rd, 1998 by Hilti France, license and certifications, certified IUL professional, issued by IUL Insiders 2024. Producer license issued by the New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance in 2021. Special Inspector Structural Steel and Bolting issued by the International Code Council, the ICC, in 2008, as well as a postgraduate certificate in power engineering issued by the Power Transmission Institute, PTI, in 2015, Certified Project Management Professional, PMP, issued by the Project Management Institute, PMI, in 2010. Licensed Professional Engineer, PE, Oregon, New Jersey, and New York, issued by the National Council of Engineering and Engineering Surveying, the NCEs, in 2003.
Oh well, Dr. Martin Munger is a member of the Professional Organizations World Financial Group, WFG. Also, Electric Power Research Institute, the EPRI, American Society of Civil Engineers, the ASCE, National Society of Professional Engineers, NSPE, American Concrete Institution, ACI, American Institute of Steel Construction, AISC publications, published about 15 articles in international journals between 1992 and 2001. The outstanding publications include instantaneous and time-dependent analysis of composite wood concrete, sections using Discher's equations of states, but 1 and 2 materials and structures of 1992. Now, when it comes to education, he has an MBA in general management with a CGPA of 3.74/4, Doctor of Philosophy in Structural Engineering, the INSA Lyon, France mentioned Tres Honorable, Master of Philosophy in Wood Engineering, Master of Science degree in Structural Engineering, University of Surrey, Guildford, England, UK, Master of Engineering degree in Architectural Engineering, Leeds, University of England. Well, he also has a GCE A level in 5 science subjects from Sacred Heart College, Bamenda, third on honors list. Amazing, amazing record there from one of our very own. Well, Dr. Barrister Mbesi, I beg your pardon. Of course, we'll be talking about Dr. Martin Mungwa here. Barrister Mbesi. Now, this is amazing. Regardless of all of the issues going on with Ambazonians across the world, we can see that Ambazonians are winning. I mean, this is an amazing one there for Dr. Mungwa. And I'm sure that you would want to agree with us that young ones in the home front should be able to learn, and they should know that they can become the best or one of the best in the world. Dr. Mbesia, we need you to pour your heart on this one.
I don't know where to start, but for me, this is what I would say. You see, this man, Dr. Mungwa, has a very powerful background. We can only say that he's one of the best, not in Ambazonia alone, not even in Africa. He's an outstanding man in the world. But what is important for us is we have people like this. This is an example of an academic giant, of a performing giant in different aspects of his own life, of a person who is so busy in his professional and academic life, and yet is able to find time to volunteer for us. If we were paying a salary, I don't know what salary we're paying. We cannot even pay him. So this is only a reminder and a call to hundreds, if not thousands, of similar Ambazonians who are yet unknown in this struggle to join the queue. Ambazonians, by the way, are achievers everywhere they go, but fewer of them do volunteer to come back and join this cause. And if we were to succeed, which I'm sure we will succeed, we can only imagine that people like Dr. Abongwa, what they will bring to us as structural engineers in wood, who have other things to call plank, cardboard at home there, which people just put on their houses. You don't even know what to do with it. This is local material that if he gets back home, the capacity that we want, he can be able to help you design whatever thing you want with wood that will match the standard of New York, that would match the standard of Beijing, of London, or any other city in the world. So I can only say personally, and if it is not possible, on behalf of this government, say thank him, thank Dr. Mungwa for being out there for us. Thank him for his personal achievements. And above all, thank him for what he is sacrificing for. The promises are high. We urge other Ambazonians to come in, take him as an example, join us in this struggle. And this makes the Yaoundé to know that this revolution is not a thing for Cartier boys, as they think. You might find a Changshu guy. It's not because he lacks academic qualifications. We have thousands of them. And so this is a pointer and a reminder to our critics and our opponents alike that we have giants within the house. The mountain is difficult for them to climb to reach the top and defeat us. Thank you, Dr. Mungwa, for what you have achieved in your personal life. Thank you for your effort in this struggle. Thank you for being very, very exemplary. One would not imagine And most people did not imagine that this is where Dr. Mungwa, a few days ago, visited Mr. Sama, made an audio. I was saying, here he is a doctor. I wish Mr. Sama and people who think like him were able to see his credentials, not just his credentials, see his achievements. I've seen his CV, see his inventions, even patented. If Mr. Sama and his group would still think that this is just a PhD like others. Now, where he takes his pen to write something, he reflects on it. As a researcher, you've seen his research there. As an expert, experts don't write for jokes. They don't give stupid opinion. They give expert opinion. Expert opinion can all be challenged by other experts. And so again, we can only say thank you, Dr. Mungwa, for all your achievement. Thank you for being there for Ambazonia. We hope God will give you more blessings. Over to you.
Oh, well, Barrister Tib, do you think that this personal achievement, this international recognition for one, can somehow be a powerful tool in advancing the collective struggle for all in general?
It does. It does. A few minutes ago, we were talking about Barrister Akeremona. And I said, Barrister Akeremona, in his personal capacity as a lawyer, he has so many platforms from which he could speak there. Just say that I'm Muna, who has done this in the world. I've researched this, I've done this. And then I'm also an Ambazonian and they're suffering. That will carry a heavy weight. So the fact that Dr. Mungwa is here with us, crying with us, he is not just, if you see the group to which he belongs, the society to which he belongs, the honors that he has had, he has this tentacle of connections around the world, which I think, given his commitment to this struggle, he will not miss a word. He will not miss a step trying to postulate our case through the tentacles that he has, through the connections that he has internationally, through his job, through his research, and other contacts, even the schools to which he has gone. We call them alumni. He has been to schools everywhere. He has been to France. He has been to London. He has been to all over the world. So can I tell you, this is rich background. It's a blessing and will add more flesh to the bones of our struggle. Thank you.
Thank you to Barrister Tim Mbasia. Thank you for your time here. When you have something.
Yeah, Barrister Mbasia, we're about wrapping up this particular news bulletin for tonight. I know that there are other things you may want to talk about, probably as it relates to the success and the latest achievement of Dr. Martin Mungwa, or to other, reports that we have given this evening in summary.
Yes, I think because of lack of time, I've said almost enough for Dr. Mungwa. Let me just address one item you addressed. The Catholic bishops, and they're called for people to go and register to vote. And this is what I have to say about it. See, don't mistake the fact that Archbishop Kia was standing there. He's the president of the Cameroon Episcopal Council. All the bishops of Cameroon meet there. But they are bishops. They are people of God. They are religious people. I just wonder why and how they miss the point each time they take the podium. The problem in Cameroon is not essentially that of people not voting. It is essentially the structures, the system that is broken down. The system is completely broken. And the bishops of Cameroon put together should be the ones who recognize it more than any other person. If there's any injustice in Cameroon as a bloc, let us just stop including we were there. The Catholic Church has suffered more of the pain than most other religious groups. Their own bishops have been killed. Their priests have been killed. Their reverend sisters have been killed. Their institutions have been destroyed. Is it just about elections? No. It is more than that. After all, as bishops, they have a country called the Vatican. The head of the Vatican City country is called the Pope. He addresses world issues from the Vatican, thousands of miles away. The most important thing is addressing the right problem. What has astonished me in particular is how the Catholic Church in Ambazonia, headed by Archbishop Andrew, has missed the point about what Anglophones, they call them, are going through. We're not going through all this because we want elections, because we want to elect Paul Biya, we want to elect someone else. No, that is not the issue. I hope Archbishop Andrew knows that in terms of Ambazonia, he is very young. He's not older, he's not more experienced than no one else but Cardinal Tumi, who told it the truth, that let Ambazonians choose where they want to go. If they choose to go away from the Republic, so be it. They're saying the truth. I guess he knows. I heard the man you replaced, who is still living with him there in Bamenda, Archbishop Eswa Fontaine, who is on record for telling Yaoundé that Cameroon is divisible. It is not non-divisible, it is divisible. For the Cameroon was a union of two different people. And so when you go and sit down and say it is indivisible, you are wasting your time. You are not speaking the truth about your religion. And again, the Catholic Church in the Northwest and Southwest, or Ambazonia today, has missed the point. They preach against ghost town. What is their preaching? Oh, let children go to school. Oh, let peace come. There can be, according to the church, there can be no peace without justice. Children will not just go to school until you find out why they ceased going to school in the first place. So if the bishops don't address these root problems, they are wasting their time. I was sitting here like most of them and other elders who went to school were products of Catholic schools, Presbyterian schools, mission schools in general. People in Bamenda and around the world still run to go to bingo for treatment. It's a Presbyterian hospital. They still run and pay transport and go on foot to go to Banso to consult in the heart center. The only one perhaps I know. It is owned by the Catholic mission. And so when the church misses its point, and this is not the first time, we don't expect every bishop to become Desmond Tutu. Desmond Tutu was a bishop, an Anglican bishop, who married religion with politics. He knew how to address those issues. That's how and why he was appointed chair of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Tell the truth. The truth is going to the root causes. He hurt me. He did this to me. This is wrong. And after the truth, we can reconcile. And so the church, the present generation of leaders, priests, bishops, pastors, whatever thing they call themselves, if they don't address the issue, they are wasting their time. The whole population of the Catholic community in Cameroon, if we put in a number, they will be the majority of the population. Most Cameroonians are Christians. And so their bishops must be able to address the issue. They don't just ask people to go and register and go and vote and say the institution that is in charge to make the people's votes count. No, Elekam, if they are not doing the good job, it is not because Elekam does not want to do it. The institution is broken down. They set up wrong laws that balance of the so-called Elekam, and they cannot even do anything. So instead of just asking people to go and register and go and vote, they should have been asking the system to reform the system to make it equitable, to make it possible for somebody else to defeat Paul Biya. In the present dispensation, If everybody want to vote, including the bishops, nothing prevents Atanganji from declaring the result that he wants. And so, to our brothers, the cardinals, the pastors, the imams, you will all be relevant to your population if you address the issues. Not a question of making peace without justice. The problem in Cameroon is not what is going on in Boko Haram. The greatest problem Cameroon faces today is what they call Anglophone problem. And if the church does not present to go address it, the church is wasting its time. And to end it, I would like, if it is possible, for Archbishop Andrew, who told the world publicly on video that President Paul Biya was not talking to Bishop, to Cardinal, to Bishop Cleda of Douala, but he was talking to them, Anglophone bishops. Where is the head? Where has President Paul Biya talking to him as the leader of the Anglophone Church, Catholic Church? Where has that taken us today, 8 years into the battle?
That's the question.
It has taken us nowhere. So, Cardinal Archbishop Andrew, you are missing the point. Archbishop Andrew was in the Grand National Dialogue. He was there in Yaoundé. Nothing has come out of it. Archbishop Andrew is one who told us on video that he bought into the doctrine of divide and rule. The Northwest cannot live with the Southwest. He said this himself, and then he was advised to say so by late Chief Mokete. But Archbishop Andrew forgot so soon that he lives in Bamenda, what they call the Northwest. He is from the Southwest. And he lives in Bamenda. He's living with them. But Cardinal Chief Mokete will tell him that the Northwest cannot live with the Southwest to buy the doctrine of Yaoundé. And he bought into it. He should have been smart to tell him that, Papa, you are not right because I live in Bamenda. I'm from the Southwest. And you are not, he's not posted like someone who will live there the next day. He will remain there until he's ever, maybe until he will die. The man he just succeeded, Archbishop Esuafontem, comes from the Southwest. He worked in Banso. He came to Bamenda as an Archbishop. He retired there. He's still living there with him. So how did our own children, our own brothers, our own sisters in positions of strength, how did they miss the point so easily? How did they miss the point so easily? She didn't have done that. In Boya, we have a bishop who comes from the Northwest. In Kumba, Southwest, we have a bishop who comes from the Southwest. So how could we buy into this type of thing, which is, in summary, the doctrine of divide and rule, orchestrated by Yaoundé, to defeat the root causes of the problem? So that is what I can say about that. I hope this sinks into people's heads. We don't blame Andrew. We don't blame you as a spokesperson for the Cameroon bishops. They are to do that. But we blame him for missing the point. The war in Cameroon is between Anglophones, they call them, or Ambazonians, and Yaoundé. That's where the war is.
And of course,
So
you would agree that as the elections are coming, they would want to use the religious leaders to want to confuse the people, right?
I think Andrew should know that. Andrew comes from Liberia. He knows, from his own personal knowledge, that if they call elections tomorrow, there is nobody in Liberia who will even vote. Not because they don't even want to vote. That's what they call electoral. That organized elections. The government has even transferred the chief of electoral from Liberia and sent him away. So there's nobody even to sit there to register people to go and vote. That is his own division. And it's a replica of other cities or towns in Ambazonia. So just saying go out and vote, they know that we would never change anything. Even if everybody in the BLM, if everybody in Ambazonia does not go to vote, Paul Biya will still win, or Kamto will still win, or another somebody else will still win. What change would that bring to Ambazonia? to end the war that has been fought for 8 years, to end the war without addressing the root causes of the problem. If I heard come to where, who is a foreigner, runner, they only say we will bring peace. They have not said they address the root causes of the problem. And they think we should go and vote, just register and vote. Unfortunately, it is not even feasible. It is not advisable because we're not part of them. It is not feasible because the structures don't even exist in Ambazonia. And so that is the lesson they take from there. Like it or not, that's the truth. We have no anger against anybody, but we stand to tell you when you go wrong. And as soon as the bishops, including Andrew, took up the mission of peace, Pope Pius peace mission, that will pay his flight to the United States and around the world, you miss the point. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Barrister Mbesiere. And I hope that they get the point. You have a question?
Certainly. Back to the report of, the breaking news, the good news that is not just for Dr. Martin Mungwa, but also
Yeah.
for all Ambazonians. We're wondering, of course, there's something you want to tell Ambazonians in this regard. We're talking about Ambazonian youth, Southern Cameroon's youth. I'm sure this is some sort of inspiration for them. You have a word or two for them in this regard. Would like you to please do so.
You see, as I've said, we have a lot of people, Ambazonians, who can reach the sky. Their brothers, their elders, like the Dr. Mungwa, have reached. He said, if you see his curriculum, he made 5 A levels at Sacred Heart College in Mancom. 2024, some children will still make 5 A levels there.
Yeah.
And at the time he made it, probably there was Mancom. There are many other schools there that will make 5 A levels. So for the younger Ambazonians, in spite of all the difficulties, remember, the sky is your limit. He went to France, coming from Sacred Heart Mancom. You don't go to France today unless you could speak very good French. He went to London. So he's an ideal person coming from the humble background. He didn't go to GSS or Cas Kumba or Cas Bambili. He went to Sacred Heart.
Yeah.
His parents sacrificed money to pay money for his school fees. And he valued it. He paid. I've never heard anybody in the history of Ambazonian education who made more than 5 A levels. The highest you can make is 5. So he was at the top. He's still at the top. So Ambazonians, don't be despaired. There are brighter days ahead, on condition only that you work hard, in spite of all the difficulties. I'm not sure when Dr. Mungwa was in Sacred Heart or primary school, there was no electricity. He was probably studying with a kerosene lamp or with a candle. And he went to where he is today. So you, even if you don't have electricity, you have at least something to read with. Keep your candles alight. Work harder, brighter days are ahead. Thank you.
All right, Barrister Jim. If there be anything else for tonight, maybe your last?
Probably his last was.
That was my last.
All right. Thank you so much. It was an amazing time with you tonight on Undaunted, and we sincerely apologize for all the technical hitches we had today. Thank you so much for understanding. And I know that we'll likely have you either on Thursday or Ambazonia this week on Saturday. Thank you so much, Barrister team this year. All right, and that's it for tonight. Undaunted. Good night and God bless.